Welcome back. Now, this week, the G20 FOCUS team will be focusing on how the public debt of developing nations has surged over the past decade. And, of course, stay tuned to SABC News Channel as we bring you in-depth looks at all these aspects of the upcoming G20 summit in South Africa. So tune in to SA Today every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. And this is where you can, of course, watch the special G20 Focus. But for more, we're joined by anchor Unathi Batyashe right now to tell us more. Unathi, good morning. And it's such a treat to see you this early in the morning, I must say. But of course, this week, G20 Focus will be focusing on the debt burden of developing nations, which is, of course, a very important topic. Please tell us more.
Absolutely, Sakina. Good morning, and good morning to you and the viewers, and of course, Leanne too. So very quickly, last week, that was our first segment. It features on SA Today, which is between 3 and 6 p.m. This week, of course, as you've said, we are going to be putting that focus on the debt burden of developing nations. Very quickly, last week was really about just how this historic moment is for South Africa, what the symbolism is for South Africa, but also how the G20 itself has transformed, from its beginnings as a finance-focused dialogue to its current role now, as a global economic governance platform, which makes today's topic even that more interesting. We'll unpack just how the world's public debt, as you've said, has increased over the past 10 years. I'll give you a hint. It's currently sitting at over $100 trillion, and developing countries owe 31% of that globally, Sakina. So these are big numbers. So we'll unpack it with our research team, our analysts that we'll have on the show itself too. And of course, our reporters have been monitoring G20 working groups meetings across the board. So we'll focus on how all of this gels together and how it will essentially culminate in any declaration, that will be made in November. So we're really here counting down to that Leaders Summit and to see just how the needle has shifted in terms of the debt burden, and especially developing nations like South Africa.
And any discussions to date by the delegates at these G20 gatherings to this point about these debt burdens, Unathi?
Well, you remember, of course, there are two tracks as it relates to the G20, so we are following all of those tracks. There's that finance track and the Sherpa track. And so under these tracks, you will have all of these focal points, and a number of them do speak to, financial sustainability and all of these things that are related to how, the problems and the prominent issues of debt are. You will recall, of course, just now the BRICS has concluded its summit. That too was discussed, and that too was a topic of discussion. Also in Seville, in Spain, with the finance conference that took place, where world leaders were really discussing some of these issues. What is of concern, Sakina, I must also mention, is the concern that developing nations are not going to be meeting those very important sustainable development goals of 2030 because of this particular problem. And also of concern is that these countries are really using a number of their critical funding to service that debt instead of issues like health, instead of issues like education. And so it will be very interesting to see then how South Africa has through these working groups that we've just mentioned now, will then be tackling this particular issue, of course, under its theme too that it has declared for the summit, the 2025 summit. You remember it's a solidarity and also inequality as well as sustainability. So how all of that will culminate, it will be very interesting. And of course, South Africa is in that troika of Brazil, South Africa, and the United States.
Well, Unathi, certainly looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Unathi Batyashe, who is, of course, the anchor of the show that has the G20 Focus, SABC News Channel. That's where you can catch it, and they'll be looking into all of the aspects of the upcoming G20 summit here in South Africa. So tune in to SA Today with Unathi every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for a special G20 Focus.